Hello people! Today we're doing a set I'm calling Jungle Flowers. And let's get started. I have got some long coffin tips. And we're going to be starting off with a base coat of white. And I'm using Modelones for this. The rest of these are going to be another smorgasbord of polishes and stuff for this today. I just am briefly going to comment on a comment that I got last time that said I was too political with my video. So what I have to say about that is it's my channel. My opinion is going to be heard. You know, you don't have to like it. You don't have to agree with it, but I am entitled to have it. So, you know, if there's content you don't want to see, just scroll on by or mute the sound or whatever. Okay, those are going into cure, and we're going to start with the second coat. But anyway, I just don't understand why people actually stop what they're doing, take the time to go and make negative comments on things. I mean, personally, if I don't like something I'm seeing or I don't want to hear it, I just scroll on by and I don't listen to it. Nobody's forcing anybody to watch this. Okay, and that's all I'm going to say about that. So, moving on. We're going to finish up here with the second coat of the white. These nails, I actually do like the way they came out, as opposed to my last ones that I'm wearing myself that I'm hating. It's like I can't wait for this month to be over so I could take these off and do something else. And while I'm thinking about it, next week's set is going to be a neon set. Neon colors, not not like neon light neon. Although I do want to do a set of those. This isn't the time for that right now. Okay, those are cured. Moving on to the stamping process. This is the plate I'm using. It's by Beauty Big Bang. And I'm going to be using this leaf looking one down here. And Born Pretty stamping polish in Lucky Clover. Now, I highly recommend all the Born Pretty stamping polishes. They work really well. They're opaque. I've never had any issues. They're easy to work with. They go on nicely. They don't smear. I mean, I can't say enough. They're really good, and I do recommend those a lot. Okay, I'm going to check our image. It looks pretty decent. Now, I started with the thumbnail. I'm going to start flush with the bottom edge because I know these are not big enough by far to cover this nail. But we're going to get there. Now, being that this is a busier pattern, it's easy to just add to it, and it's not going to be noticeable. So I'm going to clean that off with some acetone. And we're going to go again. I'm going to load her up again. Now this one doesn't have to go all the way to the bottom because we're not using the full design here. I am going to clean off any excess along the side edges because we're going to use that to fill in the side edges. Okay, we're going to start off with the top layer, or the top of the nail, and fill that in first. So I'm just going to find with one of the flat edges, and I'm going to try to lie it flush with that and just roll it right on across. And there's the top filled in, and then I'm going to turn it to the side, and you can't see it real well because I'm out of shot, but where that side edge is missing a big gap of the design, we're just going to add on to that. Try not to overlap with what's already there, but I mean, if it overlaps a little, it's not that big a deal, but try not to because that will make it noticeable if you've got overlapped parts. Okay. Now we still have a little bit of a gap down this one side right there where I didn't get it totally lined up, but we're going to be covering that over with flowers, so you're not going to see that anyway. Okay, moving on. See that little gap right there? That's where we're going to cover that up, so you won't see it later on. Okay, ooh, I don't know why I got a black spot in there, but anyway, I'm going to clean that off with some acetone again. and load her up again for the next one. And you don't need to cover the entire design with the stamping polish, just most of the top area, and then as you scrape it will fill in the rest of it. If you're covering the entire design, you're just basically wasting a lot of your stamping polish. But we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to line up the bottom edge. Now this is the index finger, so it's not going to have as big a gap, but there will be a gap on it. I think the only one I was able to cover the entire way might be the pinky nail. Or it may have had a tiny gap at the top, I'm not sure. But I'm going a little bit more slowly with these because I don't really cover much of, I just kind of breeze through all the stamping stuff because I'm assuming you guys have seen me do it enough. I'm just assuming you know what you're doing, but in case, I know there's been some new people in here. Welcome, guys. Anyway, so we only need a part of this one because we're just filling in the gap there at the top. Once again, line it up and roll it on there. And I think I had, did I have any on the side? Nope, I guess the sides were covered. So there you are. You can't even see, with this busy pattern, you can't even tell where the extra part was filled in. Okay, now this is how I clean my stamper off. I have a sticky lint roller. Just rolls it right off of there. Now this only works, now the rest of these I've sped up, obviously. The lint roller works for cleaning it off because this is regular polish, stamping polish. This is not gel. So basically you got to work kind of quickly because it will dry on you rather fast, and once it dries it's not going to come off your stamper. You're not going to get it off of there. There is gel stamping polishes. Oh, look at that, I did the wrong one. I did the whole wrong design on there and did not even notice. Oh, you know why? Because I'm just doing the fill-in part, I think. Wow. Well, there you go, there's a mistake for you. I did not even notice I had the wrong design on there. And I finished the whole set and didn't notice it either. Okay. Well, there's what not to do, guys. Fortunately for me, it didn't make that big of a difference. If I didn't even notice it while I was working on it. Oh God, what can I say? It's the heat. It's driving me crazy. It's over 100 degrees in here in my nail room this week. So it has not been pleasant. Anyways, what I was saying about the gel stamping polishes, they work okay. In my experience, I've only used a little bit, and they tend to smear on you when you're putting them on because they're not going to be dry until you cure them. So, yeah, when you're stamping them, if you press too hard or you wiggle the stamp too much, they tend to smear. So, frankly, I'm liking the regular stamping polishes to do any of this kind of stamping. And I believe we got one left. Okay, where'd I go? And we're going to quickly... Oh, I broke my scraper on that last one, too. I guess I'm a little bit more rough than I thought I was. I do tend to scrape them rather hard, just to make sure I get them down into the grooves and get all the background stuff off. Usually with regular stamping polish, if you get the... okay, I'm just filling this top in. There wasn't much, and I didn't want to make another run at it. But you can't tell anyway. Anyway, I just lost my whole train of thought. What was I saying? Okay, there they are, all done. Now we're moving on. Never mind. It must not have been that important. Okay, we're going to do the flowers. Now I'm using a Beetles light pink for this part. And we're also going to use a darker pink, which is this brand, which I'm not going to attempt to pronounce. This is an off-brand that I picked up a set of these on Ally. And frankly, I've been pretty happy with them. The polish is good quality. The colors were nice. So you're going to see me using those here and there. I think I've got like maybe 20 of those. 20, 24, I forget how big the set was. Okay, anyway, I decided to start with the pinky nail in case I messed up and I didn't like the way it looked and I had to take it off. It wasn't as big a deal to fix that one. Now, if you're not confident to do this part, you might want to go in with a layer top coat over your stamp in case you have to be wiping anything off. You don't wipe the stamped part off, because then you will have to start over. Okay, I'm just going to load up I'm using a petal brush. You don't have to use this kind of brush. Any smallish brush will do. And I'm kind of sort of mixing, I'm not mixing these fully together, these two pinks. I'm kind of picking up a little of each color on the brush most of the time. That time I did not. And we're just going to do get our flower on and fill in that little gap. Now I only did one flower on this pinky nail and I was happy with that, so we'll be moving on. I hope you guys can't hear that. I'm wheezing now. Okay, and we're just going to do basically the same thing on all of these. Now I could have put more flowers on than what I did, but I was really digging the background, and that one was not firmly attached, and now it's messed that up. So what I am going to do, since I did not top coat over these and I was leery of wiping it off, now I've got some alcohol on my wipe and I'm just gently going to blot that off without doing too much wiping. I think I could wipe that down with alcohol and have it not come off because it's regular polish and it's dry now. But just to be on the safe side, I didn't want to have to start over. But anyway, that's what I'm saying. If you put a layer of top coat, then you don't have to worry. You can wipe it off all day long if you need to, and it's not going to ruin your stamping. Which, as a side thing, that's the whole reason I started with gel polish, is because I wanted a gel top coat, clear gel top coat, that I could put over my stamping, so when I needed to wipe stuff off, I wouldn't ruin the stamping. And that's all I was going to do. I wasn't going to start in with all the gels because I already had a fairly extensive collection of regular polish that I was using. Now this was like maybe 6 years ago-ish. Once I started with the top coat on the gel and I saw how nice that was to work with and what all the things I could do, then I bought a little sample thing of some gel polishes that had different colors. They're tiny bottles. Then I was hooked. That was it. I was like, now I pretty much only use regular polish on my toes. Once in a blue moon, I might, if I'm doing a real shorty set, I might use regular polish for that, just because they're short and it's easy to deal with on there. But now that I've gone to the gels, I don't want to go back. Doing a full set of long nails with regular polish would be a nightmare now for me, because I'm so used to being able to brush over the gel as much as I need to until I get it right, and then curing it. That was such a game changer for me. Plus, there's so many more things you can do than you can't do with regular polish, or not very easily at least. But we're just slapping these flowers on. I'm not being super careful. Now this is where we had that gap on that thumbnail, which I'm going to cover over with one flower going off to the side. Now mind you guys, these are, as I said, super simple flowers. They're not real detailed, nice looking flowers that I would do if I was wanting to do something really, much more detail. And for whatever reason, they did not want to cover over on these two. I had to dab it on there. And the reason I'm using these two pinks is because I wanted to give them a little bit more of a, so they didn't, they'd have a little bit more dimension. They wouldn't look so flat, the flowers. There is a method to my madness most of the time, guys. It's just that it may not make sense to other people. To me, you know, I have my way of doing things, as you guys know. And as I like to say, the way I do things may or may not be the correct way, but it works for me, and that's how I'm going to continue to do it. Once it stops working for me, then I'll look for a different method. But all right, there we go. We got all the flowers on. Those are ready to be cured. And like I said, I did not want to put too many flowers on here because I was really digging that leafy background and I didn't want to cover it all up. Okay, now I'm going to go back in with the darker pink. And you can't, of course, see what I'm doing, but I'm just going around just like down the center of the petal a little bit, not all the way to the end, just like in towards the middle, and then dragging the darker into the middle more. I will get more in shot here in a minute so you could see what I'm doing. Okay, I just wanted to give them a little bit darker look towards the center. That will give them, once again, that'll give them a little more dimension. And I'm just going to do that on all of them. Oy, oy, oy. Alrighty. We're almost there. Okay, I think that was the last one. Alright, and those are going in for curing. Or not. I guess that wasn't the last one. Once I get done with the last of this, then they are going to go in for curing. I guess that wasn't the last. That was like the first one, I think, actually. Okay. And we're not ready to cure. I lied. We're ready. We're still going with this. Also, the gap that's in the center of these, I'm just going to paint in with this darker pink as we go. Because initially I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I thought about putting a crystal in the middle. I changed my mind partway through. So then I had to start covering that gap. For some reason, it did not want to stay in there. I just wanted to keep coming back off on my brush. Okay, now it's gone into cure. Alright, now I got out this darker pink Beetles. Just a tiny dab on there. I really could have just dabbed it off of the brush. I should have just done that, but I'm using my tiniest dotting tool and we're just going to make some dots in the center. And that's it. I'm going to finish in the rest of these real quick. And once I get those all on there, then we'll go back and cure them again. I really like the combo of these colors together too. I always liked kind of a lime green with pink with it. and white. Growing up as a kid in the 60s, I had, yes, I'm that old, I had in my bathroom in the house, had wallpaper in there that was white with 2 different shades of pink flowers and lime green leaves on it, and I just loved that wallpaper. So I've always liked that color combo ever since then. Just as an aside, if any of you guys watch RuPaul's Drag Race, occasionally he wears a suit that's those same colors that I really like. Okay, now we're moving on. I've got out my white gel paint now, and I'm just going to go in and paint some outlines on the petals, just to give so the flowers will pop a little more, and just give them a more finished dimensional look. We're not getting real fancy here, just doing some basic simple outline. Doesn't even have to, the outline doesn't even have to fully go around all the petal. I think I did do that, but it doesn't fully have to go around the top, the tip of the petals. But I think I did it on most of mine. There might be a couple where I didn't fully finish them, but that's pretty much how it's going to be. Now, I did go in and add, when you see me do this one, I did go in and I'm going to add some very, very thin and faint white lines just towards the center of the flower, but on the petals. You'll see in a second. Now these are in real time still. I think after this one, I think I sped the rest of them up. You can tell by looking at my hands through those gloves that they're soaking wet inside of there. I forgot to put my clown bands on my wrists, so I literally had, okay, see, these are where you can't see them very well, but those little faint white lines in there, they just give it a little bit more dimension and make it so it doesn't look quite so flat. Now, since I hadn't done that on the pinky nail, I'm going to go back in a second and do that on that one. Just gives it a little bit more oomph. I had sweat literally running out of my gloves, down my arm, and dripping off my elbows. Normally I have my little clown cuffs on there that stops that from happening, but I forgot to put them on, and by the time I started sweating to the point where it was running out of there like that, I was almost done. So, okay, now I've sped the rest of these up, but we're just going to do the same thing on all the rest of these guys here. And I want to say I'm using a striper brush for this. Since I discovered, I've been working with the striper brushes a lot more lately, and it's really been a game changer for my fine lines, because I was just prior to this using detailer brushes, and I just can't get as fine a line with those. But the stripers, they've got a nice fine tip on them. And they bend around nicely when you're trying to do longer lines, like the detail brush doesn't do that. It's harder to do that kind of stuff with. Oh, that one I got a little carried away with the lines on that one. This one kind of reminds me of a Hawaiian Hawaiian set for some reason. Oh, these are not hibiscus, and they're not plumerias, really. I'm sure there's got to be some kind of Hawaiian flower that looks vaguely like that. But I thought they would just be nice, kind of nice and light for summery nails. Frankly, as I'm watching this, I'm feeling like popping my own nails off and gluing these on instead. Of course, I'd have to make the other half of the set, but I won't do it. I will just live with these ugly 4th of July nails until the end of the month, which frankly is rapidly approaching. I can't believe half the year is gone already, guys. The other day, when I was last out at my folks' house, we were just talking about that. Like, where did this whole first half of the year go already? I mean, we just had Christmas, and now we're halfway there, where it's going to be coming up again before I know it. Like, I can't keep up anymore. Time really does fly. The older you get, it seems like the faster it seems to go. Alright, that was the thumb. Okay, those are done, ready to cure. And in they go. Okay, now we are ready for the final top coat. Woohoo! And I'm doing glossy on this. I think they could have looked nice with the matte also, but being that they're summery, I felt, glossy. You're going to be in water, in the pool, in the lake, in the ocean, and wherever. Glossy, I think, works better for that. Almost there. Last one. Okay, in we go for the final cure. Or not. Okay, now in we go. And there they are, all cured up. I really like how they came out. I hope you guys like them. They're infinitely better than the last set I did. Okay, if you guys do like them, please give me a like. It really helps me out, and I appreciate it a lot. And here's the final ones. We will be back to our Saturday schedule for posting, as you're finding out with this set and from here on out. So I'll see you guys next week. Stay cool. Bye-bye.